think you're on first.
Thank you. Steve Wax, retired recently as your federal defender, currently director of Oregon's Innocence Project. I'm here to talk about equity and process. Couldn't you guess? Process. I appreciate Commissioner Fish, the exchange you had with Mr. Matarazzo. I want to offer a cent or two, and Commissioner Fritz, this will also, I think, relate to your comment about process. What is not in the record at this point is that the Citizens Advisory Commission that was constituted and did attempt to and did do some work with the Water Bureau was explicitly told it could not discuss what comes next, that the questions which are currently before you on this appeal were off the table. So while there was some process for which there is appreciation, it is critical for you to understand how limited that process was.
Steve, can I ask a question on that?
Please.
I understood there was a robust discussion about where the pipes would be located and what trees would or would not be removed, and that's an issue before us. Can you say that did not happen?
No, those issues were discussed, and there was some discussion that did lead to some amendment of the proposal that the Water Bureau submitted. What was explicitly told was off the table was any conversation about the two conditions that are before you. Is there going to be water? How will that water be maintained? And second, what is going to be done about the crumbling infrastructure? Second point I want to make with respect to the record before you and the accuracy of some of the comments that have been made. As a person who, like Dr. Gordon, is in the park every day, I was surprised to hear Ms. Minor say how careful they are in maintaining the park. That is just simply not consistent with my observation. The path around Reservoir 6, when it was repaired a number of years ago, it is blacktop. And as I walk the paths on all the reservoirs, I'm continually dealing with the uneven nature. So in terms of some of the comments, the difference between the process with respect to Washington Park and Mount Tabor Park in terms of equity is something that I think is critical for you to focus on. The acrimony that exists with respect to the decommissioning, that is something that many of us have attempted to avoid and have attempted to engage with the Water Bureau on these land use issues. And the record is just not accurate. The SHPO comment, you have it before you, March 20th of 2015, emails to Ms. Stewart and to Ms. Brady. They explicitly said that their no adverse effect finding was based on the fact that there would be water in the reservoirs. And what I see and what the Water Bureau is saying is something that I have unfortunately seen too many times in my legal career, the elision of critical words. They said, and it's in front of you, if the water,
I need you to conclude quickly.
If the water is not maintained, they can reopen the process to make sure that their finding of no adverse effect is met.
Steve, on the equity
Yes.
point, can I just follow up on that?
Sure.
When we had the hearing on Washington Park Reservoir disconnect, the Arlington Heights Neighborhood Association came forward and testified in support of the proposal, which is to bury the reservoirs and then create a water feature above and do some historic restoration. I think one difference worth noting is I don't believe the Mount Tabor Neighborhood Association ever supported the burial of the reservoirs at the site. Would you correct me if I'm wrong?
Well, with Commissioner Saltzman, my wife was one of the chairs of the group that he assisted in putting together in 2004 that worked very diligently to come up with a plan for what goes on top, and that resulted in the roughly $14 million statement by either the city or the Water Bureau at the time. So to be sure, some people have been fighting tooth and nail. Many of us have been working diligently to try to preserve what we're talking about today. And I can speak for myself and my wife, since we were very, very directly involved with Commissioner Saltzman.
And I
Thank
have
you
to
so
say-
much.
I want to say that, you know, long before this land use proceeding, you actually came to my office and shared some thoughts in a very collegial and helpful way. So I appreciate the approach that you take.
Thank you.
Thank you.